North Korea has reacted unimpressed by the US decision to scale back military exercises with South Korea, saying the drills remain provocative and aggressive. At least 12 people were killed in an overnight Russian missile barrage on Kiev, with another 33 injured, according to Ukrainian authorities.
The Israeli military has launched criminal investigations into high-profile incidents involving the killings of Palestinians and conduct of soldiers during the Gaza war.
North Korea fired an unidentified projectile off its east coast on Thursday, hours after disregarding a US decision to scale back military exercises with South Korea. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff announced the launch but gave no immediate details about the projectile. Kim Yo-young, the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, said reducing the drills did not change their provocative and aggressive nature. Beyond the launch, Kim Yo-young denied communications between her brother and Donald Trump, despite the US president saying Kim had responded to his request for talks. The comments came after Washington and Seoul confirmed they were shortening the 11-day Ulchi Freedom Shield exercises at Trump's request. South Korea said the drills would now end on the 21st of August rather than 27th of August, while some joint field training would also be reduced. Trump claimed he would meet Kim Jong-un again this year.
They're coming up with...
At least 12 people were killed in an overnight Russian missile barrage on Kiev, with another 33 injured, according to Ukrainian authorities. The strikes hit 12 sites across 3 Kiev districts, damaging homes, a medical facility, and an educational institution. Emergency crews rescued people trapped under rubble. In Solomyansky, the top 2 floors of a 9-story residential building were destroyed and fires broke out elsewhere. Beyond Kiev, Poland deployed aircraft and activated air defense systems to protect its airspace near Ukraine. Romania also scrambled 2 Spanish fighter jets and a Romanian helicopter after radar detected aerial targets near the Ukrainian border. Russia has intensified ballistic missile attacks on Kiev, while Ukraine has stepped up long-range strikes against Russian military and strategic targets. Moscow authorities said around 250 drones targeted the region overnight, with most intercepted away from the capital.
A Ukrainian national was arrested on Wednesday in Croatia on suspicion of involvement in the September 2022 explosions on the Nord Stream gas pipeline. According to German prosecutors, the person arrested is a trained scuba diver who was part of a group of individuals who planted explosives on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. He was strongly suspected of jointly causing explosions, anti-constitutional sabotage and destruction of buildings and structures, they added. The undersea gas pipeline was linking Russia to Germany to carry Russian natural gas under the Baltic Sea. The incident had heightened tensions over the war in Ukraine at a time when Europe was seeking to end its dependence on Russian fossil fuels. According to prosecutors, the aim of these explosions was to prevent Moscow from profiting from its energy revenues. Russia had accused the United States of being behind these explosions, an accusation denied by Washington.
EU leaders have expressed their support to the International Criminal Court after the United States announced it would sanction top officials investigating Israel's actions in Gaza. In a statement, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and Council Chief Antonio Costa said that the ICC helps deliver justice to the victims of some of the world's most horrific crimes. They added that in order to carry out this essential work, its judges and officials must be able to act independently and without external pressure. The statement came after US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced that the US would sanction the ICC's president, Japan's Tomoko Akane, and senior lawyer Abdoulaye Seye of Senegal. The top officials have been tasked with probing war crimes allegedly committed by Israel in its war in Gaza. The ICC has described these sanctions as a flagrant attack on its independence.
The Party of European Socialists is heading towards an internal showdown. Divisions among national delegations over migration policy is deepening in the wake of the Ceuta crisis, in which over 72,000 people illegally crossed into the Spanish enclave from Morocco at the end of July. During the crisis, Denmark's centre-left Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen joined Italy, Germany, Finland and Sweden in criticizing Pedro Sanchez's government over its handling of the situation. Frederiksen co-led with Italy's far-right leader Giorgia Meloni a letter signed by 22 member states that criticized Spain's recent regularization of around 500,000 migrants. In a letter sent to the Party of European Socialists president earlier this week, two heavyweight MEPs from Italy and Spain accused Frederiksen of selective solidarity. They argued that Frederiksen adopted the narrative of the radical right. The Italian and Spanish delegations point out that Denmark enjoyed European solidarity during open threats from US President Donald Trump to seize the autonomous territory of Greenland. Denmark's Social Democrats' membership of the European Socialist Party is not in question. The aim is rather to find common ground on this sensitive topic.
The Israeli military said on Wednesday it would open criminal investigations into two high-profile incidents involving the killing of Palestinians during the war in Gaza. The first being the fatal shooting of 5-year-old Hind Rajab, while the second involves the killing of 15 Palestinian paramedics. Hind Rajab was killed in February 2024 when Israeli troops opened fire on a vehicle she was traveling in with 6 of her relatives as they tried to flee the central Gaza city. Hind initially survived the attack that killed her entire family and remained on the phone with the Palestinian Red Crescent, who sought permission from Israel to go and rescue her until gunshots and screams were heard. Around 2 weeks later, Hind, her family, and the bodies of 2 paramedics dispatched to rescue her were found dead. In May 2025, 15 paramedics were killed in Rafah after Israeli troops opened fire on ambulances and other emergency vehicles responding to casualties. Their bodies and damaged vehicles were subsequently buried in a mass grave discovered by the UN and rescue workers about a week later. The Israeli military initially said the vehicles were advancing suspiciously without headlights or emergency signals, an account it later revised after phone footage emerged showing the opposite. Both incidents drew widespread condemnation from the international community, who accused Israel of targeting civilians and medical workers, both crimes under international law. The IDF did not, however, address several other high-profile killings it had previously pledged to investigate, including strikes on a hospital in August 2025 that killed 5 journalists.
Iran has executed over 900 people since the beginning of 2026, according to a report by human rights group the Abdurrahman Buraman Center. The Washington-based group documented 901 executions between January and July and 28 executions in August alone. The rights group noticed a sharp increase in the use of capital punishment across cases involving national security, drug-related offenses, and members of ethnic minorities. At least 56 people were executed during the 7-month period on political or national security charges. 13 were accused of espionage and 14 were sentenced on other security-related charges. Drug-related offenses accounted for at least 268 executions. The figures also show a disproportionate impact on ethnic minorities and other vulnerable groups. The report documented the execution of 16 women and 2 people under the age of 18 at the time of their alleged offenses. The latest figures add to growing international concern over the scale of executions in Iran.
Former Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios has been provisionally suspended from tennis after testing positive for cocaine. He tested positive while playing at an ATP 250 event in Mallorca in June. Kyrgios said he had difficulties coming to terms with being near the end of his career after 2 years of injuries, but that he takes full responsibility for what he calls was a huge mistake. The 31-year-old Australian reached the Wimbledon singles final in 2022, where he lost to Novak Djokovic, although now ranks 919 after a series of injuries. Kyrgios got a wild card to play doubles at Wimbledon last month and lost in the first round with partner Alexander Bublik. The International Tennis Integrity Agency will prosecute the case, and the length of his ban will depend on whether the substance was taken during a competition. Cocaine is banned as a doping substance during competitions, with lower sanctions possible when used away from events. European surface temperatures are rising due to climate change, and the Mediterranean Sea has seen a rise of around 2 degrees, according to a new scientific study. The study by the World Weather Attribution Group shows that some of these areas are heating up faster than the global average. Researchers found that the change in temperature is severely impacting our ecosystems.
Our marine life is moving from warmer waters up into the Mediterranean, and then from warmer, more southerly waters, such as down near Spain, is now pushing more north towards Ireland, and then the fish, say, around Ireland are being pushed even further north again towards the North Sea. So this is concerning on a number of levels, not just for marine life, but also for its impacts on human communities.
Experts say that this is particularly being driven by the continued burning of fossil fuels. Meanwhile, Western European seas have seen an increase of over 1.3 to 1.4 degrees Celsius. According to the European Union's Global Warming Monitor, the world's oceans hit record high temperatures for a second straight month in July.